Hello guys, my name is Michael and welcome to a new GTK tutorial. As you already know, until now we learned about how we create a dialog, and we learn also which kind of function do we need to create this dialog, and then to set up some new things on it and so on. And now the new thing which we are going to learn now, it is how we will apply properties on this dialog. So maybe some of you are asking yourself why we're to make a new video just for a property. I mean, it is just only one property. Yes, some of you may have right, some of you already know that there is a reason why I'm doing it. So if you not believe me, that just stay with me. Okay, so that being said, this is the property, the only one. It is a property which is called UseHeedaBar. What this means? Well, you remember in the last video we are creating a dialog with buttons, and during its creation one of its arguments was a flag, and setting that flag to UseHeedaBar basically, or let me go back a little bit just to be sure that I'm not telling you something wrong. So GTKDialog flags. Okay, so those flags are model, destroy with parent, and UseHeedaBar. Okay, create a dialog with action HeedaBar instead of action area. Okay, so that being said, let me run a little bit the program now. No, I don't need a terminal. So basically this is the action area right here, and this is the HeedaBar right here. Okay, so that being said, to put those buttons there, we had to create our new dialog widget with buttons by setting GTKDialog flags to GTKDialog UseHeedaBar. Basically we did it. Okay, how and what is the story with the with its property? Now let's see. True if the dialog uses a GTKDialog for action buttons instead of the action area. So for technical reason, this property is declared as an integer property, but you should only set it to true or false. You should. Okay, that being said, flags read, write, and construct only. Allowed values from -1 to 1. The default value is -1, which belongs to true. Anything else than 0, which is false, should be true, isn't it? Well, I'm not going to go inside this story, but anyway, they said it should be set to true or false. Okay, good. Now there is something new for you, which are the flags. You see, we have a new kind of flag which we didn't talk until now, which is the construct only. What this means? Well, this means that I'm going to first do what we are doing all the time. I'm going to see what's the story with this property, which means after we created our dialog right here, I'm going to call GObjectSet. I'm going to pass our dialog, our property, and the manual said true or false. Okay, so true and null. We are informing our function that we are done with it. I'm going to compile it and run it and see what happens. Nothing's happens. Of course, nothing's happened because the dialog is not created already. So I'm going to hit the button now. Bam. Okay, I'm going to close this one and this one also. And here says GObjectSet is a valid property construct. GObjectSet is a valid property. Construct property UseHeedaBar for object GTKDialog cannot be set after construction. So basically this is something new for you, which means until now you could set those properties all the time with no problem, but now it doesn't work. So this means I cannot set this property, but this property is there. Why is there if I cannot set it? It's a good question. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to comment this part right here because we cannot use it. As you already noticed, it's not working. Okay, now we are going to make some changes, which means I'm going to create a dialog new with buttons this time. So what do we need? We need a title, okay, which is the response. Okay, second one, it is the parent, which is the window. The next one, it is the flag. Now it's a good time to use it right here. Let me make it a little bit cleaner. Okay, the next one, it is the first button, second button, and so on. So basically I'm going to copy these three things right here. Okay, okay, now let us see what's the story again with this type of construct now, because this time, as you already noticed, we are calling GTKDialog new with buttons, and this means let me see, I think I want to see the function again before we move to that place, so I'm going back faster. Here, dialog and new with button says we need a title. I provided. We need the GTK window. We have a window GTK type because we pass it a GTK, which is okay. The flag, we pass it, and then was the first, the second, and the third button, and of course I forgot the null. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to remove this one right here because we don't need it, and of course I'm going to move also this one right here. So now basically what we have here, we have a function which checks if the window, it is a window type, if not returns, and then we declare it a widget, a dialog, pointed to a widget, and then we point this function to our GTKDialog new with buttons, and then we print it. Nothing special. Okay, so let me compile it and run it. And as you can see, it works fine. So basically this is the story with the property. Here you see we have those three buttons on the UseHeedaBar, which is fine and works fine. Now let us check again what happens now. I want to set it to false this time, and compile it and run it, and bam, as you can see we have the same error, the same warning, which means it's not working. So basically what it's important for you to know is if you are creating a dialog with GTKDialog new, or you cannot set this property. If you are creating a GTKDialog new with buttons, you need to set this property. If you don't set it during its construction, you cannot set it anymore. Okay, good. So now we know something, but it's not too much information because we still need to set this property. How we do it? Well, here is the secret. You need to, if you really insist that you need to set this property, then you will have to do it for your own, which means you need to create an object for yourself. It is not something which we talk about until now. So that being said, what do we need? Let me go back. Let me remove this part right here, and we are going to call a new function. Let me search for it. Some of you maybe already use it. GObjectNew. We didn't talk about this function until now. We didn't use it, but it is time to use it. So let's see. It is a function which returns a void a G pointer, a void. Creates a new instance of an object subtype and set its properties. You see this? So basically, this is a function which won't let you to create a new instance from a GObject subtype and let you set its properties. So construction parameter are G primary construct and primary construct only, which are not explicitly specified. Are set to their default values. So parameters is the object type, the object ID of the GObject subtype to instantiate, and the properties. Here you can set a lot of properties, but we are not going to set. We are going to set only one. Okay, so we are interested only in one property because we don't know how to set this property, isn't it? Okay, so here it says the value of the property, first property. Okay, so basically, and then followed by null. We already know those functions always, and I mean always, should be followed by null to inform this function that you are done with it, and you mark it with null. Okay, so that being said, we are going to call this function right here, and this function says gtype object type. Okay, so in our case, what kind of type do we have? Well, we have a GTK type dialog, isn't it? Okay, so that being said, GTK type dialog. So basically, this is the type which we needed. If you are not sure, you go to gtype, open link in your tab, and have fun reading this kind of types you need here, and so on, and you will see which kind of types are used here, why are they here, and which kind of them do you need them. Anyway, one thing I wanted to tell you that these kind of things we are going to see them later, and I mean later when we are done with the documentation, when we are going to create our own widgets. There you will see what's the story with types and all this kind of things. Okay, so that being said, the first one it's G type, and the second one should be then the property. So now basically we need the use here. How it was? Let me copy. Okay, where's the property? Right here. So I'm going to copy it. UseHeedaBar. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to say true, and then we need to mark it as null. Okay, so basically now we are creating an object by ourselves without calling the GTKDialog new. We are calling GObjectNew this time. We are creating a type of the dialog, and then we set this property to it, and after we're done with it, we are marking it with null. So now let us check what happens, and let's see what kind of error we get. Okay, it's working. I mean, it looks like it's working. We are not sure that it's working, but the way how the navigation bar looks like, it seems to work. Anyway, we have a problem. It says GTKDialog mapped without a transience parent. This is this card, of course. So basically we are calling a GTK window set residence for how is the window the function call, but no, this time we are not going to do it. We are going to set the property right here. I said we are setting only one. No, we are not. We are setting another one too, which means we set also its transient for property, and of course this one should be the parent, should be the window itself. Now let us check if we can work with it, and of course works fine, which is good for us. Now let us create some buttons and see where exactly goes those buttons. So GTK dialog add buttons. Okay, so that being said, GTK dialog, our dialog, so the first button should be yes, one, no, response ID 2, and whatever, cancel, and its response ID make it 3, and of course the null. Now let me compile it and run it. And as you can see, works fine the way it should work. That being said, we managed to succeed to set up this UseHeedaBar, which does the thing which we needed, which means we set the UseHeedaBar property during the construction in another form or the way how the GTK explained it. So that being said, this property is not something which you set it later to your program. It's something which you set it during its construction. Why is that? I think it's clear for you. I mean, how you were expecting you to create a dialog like this one with some information here, and at some point during your execution of your program, or I don't know, at some point you decide that you need to drop this one here and move it here. I mean, it is kind of crazy, isn't it? So it is clearly that it should be set on its construction and not later. That being said, if now we are going to try to set GObject set dialog UseHeedaBar, I'm going to copy this part right here, and I'm going to set it to false. This means if I'm right, it should not work, because if it is set only to at its construction, it cannot work after, even if you create your new GObject. You see, I was right. The program looks fine, works fine, but we have this warning which ignores your property and informs you with a message which says that construct property UseHeedaBar for object of GTK dialog type cannot be set after construction. That being said, I think we are done here with these kind of things, and we can proceed into our next video with signals and so on. Thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.